bamboo down, and me see Tyra lay down there, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing goat. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. Sunday morning I was passing, and me see Tyra lay down there, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing goat. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. Shake, 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 Tyra, shake, 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 Tyra, shake, 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 Tyra. Oh. One day, me been a wakana, and me see Tyra pon the down, and me ask see Tyra what she do then. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing goat. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. One day me been a wakana, and me see Tyra on the down, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing goat. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. See Tyra move and day, oh see Tyra move and day. All right. Hey, guess what? It's just 12 minutes. Yep, 12 minutes after 10 o'clock. 12 minutes after 10 o'clock in the morning, of course. How are you doing? Thank you guys for sharing the link. We got to share some licks, not stupidity, not wild talks, because they got some folks feel that, oh, it's social media and it's freedom. They could talk whatever they want to talk and it's their constitutional rights. Well, of course, at times you've got to be careful because it comes with a price. And so here it is. I'm here to talk not about Hot Dog Guy because we know about the discrimination about these sort of things that people do not want to talk about. They do not want to write about. This is what they expect. They expect these shows where we crumble up and we all talk the same talk. That is democracy for them, right? It is democracy for them. We must not be able to share our concerns and to express our hurt in terms of how the society is running, how the country is being managed. So we must be able to take their propaganda, accept it, and shut our mouths. Right, Golly God? That is what they expect. And then when people confront them, when people expose them, they get upset, their bumps raise, and all manner of things. And we see them, we know who they are, but we're not afraid to call them out on this show and a few other shows. And so because this is what we do now, guess what? Guess what? They're using the state resources. They're using the state resources to go after some of us. We know who they are. Are we afraid? Absolutely not. Been through all of that with them. And I'm not fearful of their stupidity or their threats. It's not going to happen. Wrong person wrong tree they're barking at. Now, thank you. I didn't realize that my 10 o'clock would have conflict with Simona Broom's 10 o'clock. So I just want to make that clear. That is why we made the announcement that I will be on at 10 o'clock. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining me at this point in time. Let me see what's on your mind and where you're listening, where you guys are at this moment. I noticed Onessa Ward Dean. Good morning to you. And John is talking about Hot Dog Man. Well, I don't know. This is not a dating app. If you are interested in Hot Dog Man, right?
I heard an individual. Well, you know that crazy guy. You guys know who that crazy guy is. Just as they got off, about to get off, from what I was told, about to get off from their tinning cup so-called show, uh, spoke about their tinning cup show. Spoke something about I get something about and repeating exactly what he ought not to repeat. But we'll see. And then at the end now, oh, let Ben Shop sue him. Ben Shop sue him. Let Ben Shop come to Guyana, cybercrime charge waiting. You see, that is what they do. They are a bunch of pussycats who love to sit and use the state resources to basically threaten people. That is what they do. They love to threaten people. Jagdev does it, Irfan does it, and their goons do it as well. But I am not going to fall for that threat. Oh, come to Guyana, cybercrime. Everything for them is cybercrime. They go to bed, they sleep, they wake up, is cybercrime, cybercrime, cybercrime. A bunch of bullies. Again, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Everett, Leonard, how are you, sir? I haven't seen you in ages upon ages. And Michelle, how are you doing as well? Good morning. Robert, London. All of you, good morning. So, what exactly, you guys, and Brenda Casey, how are you? Morning. What do you guys want us to talk about? You know, I came here to just in the interest of transparency, you know, we love that on this show, is to let you guys know that through my lawyer, Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford, I've asked him to review, mind you, review what was said months ago. Mind you, this has been in the pipeline months ago. Review what was said on a program, or if you want to call it a show, operated by a critic, and what was said, and whether it is tantamount, to defamation and a lawsuit. And the learned senior counsel admitted, and other lawyers have admitted, and other individuals, that look, this is outrageous. And so I just want you guys to know that this is not an overnight. This has been pending proper research and everything. And so this is not something that is light at all. And so he can dance, he can jump, he can call his propagandists, his low-level propagandists, to talk crap on social media. And I've already cautioned some of them that this is not about the frivolous treason charge that was leveled against me. It's about the contents of what was uttered on that individual's page. That individual critic feels that he is above the law, feels that he can get on his show and talk whatever he wants to talk, and that he has the backing of the PPP regime, and that he has the backing of Jack Deere and Irfan Ali. It has got to stop. At some point, it has got to stop. Enough of this lawsuit. I guess by now some of you, or you guys, heard already that through my lawyer, Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford's office, 100 million Guyana dollars lawsuit has been filed against the so-called critic. So moving away from that, though, for now, it's in the lawyer's hands and the court's hand. They will deal with that. But I just want to remind you guys of these sort of individuals that we're dealing with, that feel that they could jump out of their little holes. Some of them can't even speak properly. Don't I don't even want to go that route, but you guys understand where I'm coming from. Look, these are the things that we should be focusing on. The Public Procurement Commission finds several breaches in award of this 870 million pump station. Now, this is close to 1 billion taxpayers' dollars. I want to get your take. Close to 1 billion taxpayers' money. Look where it has gone to. Someone who doesn't have the academic qualifications, and we are not even certain, mind you, whether there is the experience. Nobody knows that. But yet you have a regime awarded this guy $870 million, almost $1 billion. They are far more experienced and qualified individuals who I'm sure could have gotten this contract and possibly cheaper, but yet it was awarded to this guy. Ask yourselves this question. Why? Why? This is a waste of taxpayers' dollars, of course, because I am not sure whether you guys will get the value for your money. I don't know. We have seen situations where people took back their excavator, where this has happened, persons lost their life, all manner of things, controversy that they weren't paid, properly compensated, all these allegations, all these things. But you know what? These are the kinds of people who believe that they are so above the law that they can pop up because they get the support of a Jack Dale and a Irfan Ali and some of their so-called friends in the Guyana police force. They feel that they can talk anyhow. They're powerful. But let's look at their history where they came from not so long ago, mind you. People work their way up in life through qualifications, through experience, of course, through hard work and dedication. Mind you, people, and through good business. Now, if you check the record of some individuals, you'll want to know how come? What has happened? How is this possible? Mind you, you can't move from selling sweetie on Rob Street and suddenly you are where you are, or cigarettes or whatever. In general, I'm speaking. You have to have a history where you set the evidence is there. If Patricia Sinclair is a big business owner, you will see that Patricia came through the ranks as a small business person and worked her way up. The same for Lily, the same for Gloria, the same for Colin Barnwell. All of you guys, you get the message. Work your way up. In Guyana, we hardly see some people like that. There's no trace of owning any proper business. There's no trace of experience. There's no trace of qualifications. There's nothing, no trace of nothing. They just jump out of a hole and feel that they have what it takes to talk to people and talk to people anyhow. All right, let me check your comments. Peggy Elias, how are you? Every single one of you. I should be joined by a guest this morning. I'm not going to mention the name of the individual just yet, but that person is going to be on with me. No, it's not Wayne Caesar. Wayne is probably busy at work. But let me say this, though. Let's go back to the Brooklyn situation. Suddenly you find some of these Pacus out in Guyana, pretending as though they are now defending those people in Brooklyn. Oh, suddenly they're defending these people in Brooklyn. All of these Pacus in the PPP who are defending these people in Brooklyn never even heard about those folks and their businesses in Brooklyn, never supported them, never gave a rat's you know what about them. But suddenly, because of political expediency, they want to make it appear that they are, we feel the hurt of those people. How dare Ben Shap do that? How dare Burke do that? How dare these guys? These guys are bad. Look at what they're doing to their own African businesses and their African support. Look what they're doing. Don't fall for that, guys. Do not fall for that. They are not these Pacus, these PPP Pacus who are being paid hundreds of millions of dollars of your tax money for ads and all sorts of things on their programs. They feel emboldened by the Jack Dales and the Irfan Alis and so forth. Now, let me say this here straight. I have absolutely no apologies to make at all. None whatsoever. If ever I am, it doesn't mean that I am not the type that will apologize. I will, and I have, if I have done something wrong or if I believe that the compromises are meaningful. In this particular situation, after those individuals in Brooklyn have betrayed the trust of the community, the Guyanese community in Brooklyn, by inviting Irfan Ali into Brooklyn at a time when Irfan Ali's government is discriminating against Guyanese. Irfan Ali's government has no respect, for the most part, no respect for persons of African descent. And if I take such a position that people should not support those businesses, then I have absolutely, and read my lips, absolutely no apologies for that. And the likes of those PBP goons who suddenly find favor with those individuals in Brooklyn, they can, you know what, jump off a cliff. Now, let me say this here now. Let me say this here now, and I have said it many a times before. If these individuals could come forward and say, well, look, we have made an error, a bad judgment, that the timing to invite Irfan Ali into Brooklyn was not the right timing. And therefore, based on that error of judgment, we apologize. Simple as that. Let them apologize. Some of them are trying to basically correct themselves privately. Let them correct themselves publicly. So this whole thing about Irfan and their psychopaths, that Burke and Benshap and others, they don't look what they're doing to their own Black Mati or whatever it is, the description. It has nothing to do with that. I have gone to the hills. I haven't gone many years now, but I know people who have gone there. And I've invited people that when they're in Brooklyn, make sure they check that out. So it is not that this is something personal or against these businesses. All I'm saying is that they have done something to disrespect the community. It's English language. English language. But Irfan Ali and his gang, they do not understand English language. And so they rush out to make it look, Benshap and Burke and all. It is not about that, guys. This is nothing personal against those people. Pam and, I think it's Pam and Steve or whatever. And then there's Doris. There's nothing personal against these people. These people have a right, in my opinion, they have a right to support whomever they want to support. But when they stretch that into rushing into the community there in Brooklyn to disrespect the community, there is a difference. And we have a right to stand up for the community. Twist it or turn it. We have that right. If Doris sits in Guyana and she does her stuff privately, fair enough. Fair enough. That's her prerogative. If she goes into the voting booth and she votes for whichever party she wants to, that is her prerogative. But let's take, for example, that crazy guy that is saying that, that Benshap doesn't support that business. Somebody is telling him that. I don't know if it's Doris. I don't know. Somebody is telling him that, right? Someone is telling him that. But he doesn't know the relationship between a Benshap and a Doris. He just found out about Doris. But because he wants to sing for his supper, and some of them jumping up. Benshap this, Burke that. You think they really care about the people at Palm and Steve? Do they care about Palm and Steve? Thanks, Simone Greaves. Do they care? They do not care. Do you think they really care about Doris? They have never supported Doris. None of them. Absolutely none of them. Some of them have not, like, for example, that Looney Tune guy. He has applied for U.S. visa a couple of times and he was turned down. I'm sure if he had the opportunity to come to New York, he would not have gone to Doris's restaurant. He would not have gone to Palm and Steve. He would not have gone to support those businesses. So suddenly they want to give you guys this impression that these people, like, that they care. They do not care. They see it as an opportunity to brainwash the community and to make it appear that we are the bad guys now. Benshap is a bad guy. Burke is a bad guy. When in fact, all we are all we are doing, and others, not just Ben Sharp and Burke, mind you, there are others who are in this struggle, right? Um, I noticed my friend Clinton Hollingsworth and others, and Hollingsworth and Otto Martin and others, and Wayne Caesar has a position on this, and they are credible people within the Guyanese community in Brooklyn. You know, why should the likes of Madman, those mad guys in Guyana, like Irfan Ali and all these clowns, why should the people of Brooklyn, some people of Brooklyn, sit and wait for them to defend what is happening there? That's all. That's a question that I'm asking. Why? Why should those people sit and wait for Irfan Ali? Irfan Ali came out the other night, trembling, all nervous, all manner of things, pretending that he cares because he didn't like the lashback that they got. And so he had to save face to come out and make it look as though he's concerned about it. They don't care. Majority of the people in Brooklyn, yes, are of African descent, Guyanese. They work hard. Those businesses work hard. Those business people, they work hard indeed. But they should not fall prey to these individuals like Irfan Ali, who doesn't give a damn about them. This has nothing to do with, oh, they did it for the opposition people. Some of them are saying that because those who are saying it now are fighting for their own supper. That is what it's about. That's my take. We're waiting for, we're waiting for my guest to join shortly. Let me read some of your comments. I see Trevor Mitchell is saying here, 99% of Doris Rodney's customers are persons of African descent, Guyanese. Hence, she made a bad move and she will feel it. That is what we're waiting for our guest to join us, please. Yeah. So that is what people are saying. 99% of her customers are African Guyanese. 99%. And therefore, when you bring somebody, there are consequences. When you bring someone like Irfan Ali, who is hurting people, and mainly, this is not to say our Indian brothers and sisters and indigenous brothers and sisters aren't feeling the squeeze from this corrupt PPP regime. They are. Every day they are. Every single day they are. But when you open your doors for such an individual like Irfan Ali at this juncture, when Irfan Ali doesn't give a rat's you know what, and his government, about the people who support your business, you cannot fault people. It has been happening for a while now. In the civil rights struggle time, we saw it. All these things happen. There come a time when decisions, and sometimes decisions might not be nice, but you've got to accept it. You've got to. The decision right now is to boycott those businesses until they apologize to the Guyanese community. That is all I'm saying. It is within my right to say that and to call on people in Brooklyn not to support those businesses until they call a press conference or whatever to say that they didn't realize that this is where it would have gone to, and apologize to the community. Without an apology, I doubt that majority of the people in Brooklyn will continue to support those businesses. Simple as that. Good morning to all of you again. Civic, how are you doing? Amit, how are you? Let me see here. We got Tom Anderson, Thomas Anderson. Tom, how are you doing? Good morning to you, my friend. Let me see some of your comment. Amit, Sital, Claudette Harry. Claudette Harry is asking an important question, and that question is, she's asking, what was his visit, the visit there for? What was the visit for? The visit was simple. It was simple. Propaganda. There's nothing meaningful. Because when Irfan Ali leaves Brooklyn after hugging up with those folks in Brooklyn, meeting them, hugging them up, and all manner of things, swar and all these sort of things, he goes back to Guyana and continues on the same track, the same attitude. Do you think he really cares about Doris, who is in the picture there? Do you think he cares about people who look like Doris? Look at what they've done with the cash grant. Majority of opposition supporters were left out. They were promised with, you guys remember the pink slip story. They were promised that the regime will go to give them the cash grant. And speaking of pink, Doris has on pink there too. So they refused people who look like Doris hundreds of millions in cash grants, but they gave it basically to their supporters, favorite, and friends. That is what the regime has done in terms of discrimination. Then there were thousands of people, most of them looking like Doris, were fired from their jobs, terminated, sent home, get lost, we don't want you. The other thing is, how many people have lost their lands, their house lots, every single thing as a result of this very guy that Doris is standing next to. And so when folks in Brooklyn, see these things, how do you think they feel? Don't you expect them to react? Don't you expect them to express themselves? Don't you expect them to feel a way? Or you just expect them to hold your hands and say, oh my gosh, look, no. Some may do that, but the majority of people will stand up and say no. They will stand up to those individuals, owners of businesses in Brooklyn, who have done what they have done, and they will say, we do not like that. We do not appreciate that. And because of the fact that we do not like that, we do not appreciate that, it is our right to say, we will not support your business until you apologize to our community. We will not ask people to support your business until you apologize. This is what it's about, guys. That is what it is about. This is nothing personal. Absolutely nothing personal against Doris, whom I have met, and we are currently working on a project together to rename Utica Avenue, Guyana Avenue. So some folks who don't know, they think, oh, Ben Chap running after, Ben Chap said, no. I don't believe it's the ball is in Doris's hands right now and the others in Brooklyn. That if they want this boycott to end, they need to apologize to the community. That is what. And again, and I think Burke has made this point lucidly clear, and others, that this is not to say people are not entitled to their political rights. And here is where those guys do not understand, the PPP guys do not understand, and they're cheap propagandists. English language is important. There's nothing personal against Doris or Pam and Steve or any one of these guys. Absolutely not. People are hurt. People are upset, and people feel that the community, the Guyanese community in Brooklyn, was disrespected. And if people feel this way, then the right thing for Doris and others to do is to apologize and say there was no harm meant and so forth. But they need to apologize to the community. They need to apologize to their customers. I'm not sitting here saying anything personal about anyone, because there's nothing personal to say about them other than the subject matter. I'll look at your comments and just tell me if this is right or wrong, if you agree with the protest or not. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. And I'll read some of your comments here. And here it is. Renee Paris has a good point here. That right after he met with these individuals in Brooklyn, look what he did. They went right back to Guyana. And business people alongside the seawall, guess what he did? Guess what he did? Let me see if you guys read what he did. I just want to read want you guys to read what he did. You guys tell me. Tell me. He went back to Guyana, Irfan Ali and his administration. They removed those people, removed them from there. Unfortunately, those folks that they're bullying to remove them from that place, guess what? Most of them look like Doris. Do you think these people who are now fighting up, those PPP folks who are fighting up and, oh, Benchap is wrong, they're not going to say Irfan Ali and his government that they are wrong for bulldozing and removing those people's business along the seawall, that those businesses were there for a while. They're not going to do that. They're not going to say that, but they find it convenient. Oh, how convenient. Benchap is this, Burke is this, Wayne Caesar is this, Otto Martin is this, Clinton Hollingsworth is this. They're going to do that because it's convenient for them. That's what it is, just convenient to them. So thank you so much, Rene Paris, for that. Hard-working owners who paid rent to vend there. So true. But these people who are, well, I wouldn't say attacking because it's nonsense. It's soft pop they're throwing. They're not going to go and attack Irfan Ali's position, his government's position on removing those vendors along the seawall. But let's see what Donald Ainsworth is saying. Good morning to you, Danny, and thanks for your service. I always respect and admire your service, but this is what Danny Ainsworth is saying. And for those of you who don't know Danny, the younger folks, older folks like Peggy and myself. So Danny was a former minister. He's former minister of education. Those were the days when we had quality ministers of government. But look at what Danny is saying here. I think you should send the clip on Ali cooking in that restaurant in NYC Health Department. And that's another issue too, Mr. Ainsworth. That's another issue. Because if that tape is sent, those people in the restaurant, and do we want them to be fined? And it should, because it's not proper standard. But they're going to attack. Look at what they're doing. Anyways, they said Danny's saying they were in violation of the laws of sanitation and health standards laws as it relates to preparing food for public consumption. And that is so true, Danny. Thank you so much for that. Let me see. I'm looking. Albert Fideli, I hope I'm pronouncing, sorry, Fideli, saying English language is hard and it's a very technical language. Certain things can be interpreted in many different ways. So thank you so much. Everett is saying damage control indeed. Let me see what else you guys are saying here. Joseph Caleb has his point of view. He did there an attack on Aubrey, starting some campaign. And let me see what else. Carl Miller said that's exactly what Carl said he was talking about this morning. New York had something to do with this sudden removal of business from the seawall. Again, I'm not sure if you guys saw what happened there at the seawall, but you guys should check up on the news, go into the Village Voice and find out what's happening. All right. There was a comment here I'm reading your comments because we want to get as to how you guys feel about this situation and the boycott of businesses in Brooklyn. It's a legitimate thing. They had fun out there in Brooklyn. In the middle is my good friend, Pastor Richmond. Pastor James Richmond. Good morning to you, sir. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to laugh. The guys, them eating. Everybody eating. And so folks in the PPP, some of them will look and say, so what's wrong with this? We all Guyanese. Fair enough. But do you know that guy that you're eating with, Pastor James Richmond? Do you know the amount of hurt they have done to people in Guyana? Do you know how many people, hundreds of thousands of people are hurt in Guyana, Pastor Richmond? And you know what the Bible says, right? When you see a sin or an injustice that is meted out to your brother or sister, and you turn a blind eye to that, you're equally as guilty as the perpetrator. And unfortunately, my friend James Richmond, Pastor James Richmond, right in the middle there, grabbing any food for eat, has turned a blind eye on the injustices in Guyana. And look who he's standing next to. Sean Anthony Ben, good morning. Sean is saying here, Doris is reported as saying that the coalition didn't do anything for her. Now, isn't this the same person, Doris, who is complaining that the coalition didn't do anything for her? Isn't she the same one who said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country? Now, I didn't see the comment where, according to Mr. Ben, Sean Anthony Ben, that she said that. But if she said that, Mr. Ben, it's hypocritical, because last Friday, she never said that. And let me say to Doris and others, ask not what the coalition can do for you, but what you can do for the coalition. And by extension, I agree with Doris. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But we have a bunch of vagabonds in the PPP are destroying Guyana. But let's go to what Doris said, ask not what your country, and the contradiction that coalition didn't do nothing for you.
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together, because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right, President. I agree with you, and I would have it no other way. No other way. There is only one way forward, and that is united. That is for us to band together, for us to understand the challenges together, and for us to overcome those challenges.
Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So we're here to work together as one.
Thank you.
Let's do it orderly.
We have to have Youth of the Hills restaurant, and I'm proud to know we are Guyanese. And today I have one Guyanese.
She's here. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. I don't want a picture. You don't want a picture. Yeah, this one. So 10 floors of inventory care. Oh wow! I'm not going there. Besides, I ain't gonna do nothing. This is my president.
You have to really work on it.
We are one of the hospitals.
Thanks again.
As it pertains to that visit, I'm told through a source that it is under investigation. That how it is that a head of state, regardless of how they became head of state, just pops into a hospital just like that with all the security, met with people in the passageway and disrupted the flow of business at that hospital. Patients probably would have been affected. You just don't do that. And so visit is currently under investigation. That you walk into a hospital, even though it's a public hospital, and then you took photographs of individuals, videos of individuals, and you rush back home to your country, and suddenly, less than 24 hours after, you have a propaganda video. And now that is under investigations. It's unacceptable. But these guys do not care what is acceptable or what is not acceptable. Everything for them, everything that they do, they believe that they are right. I'm looking at some of your comments. How do you guys feel about the boycott of those businesses in Brooklyn? Those businesses that participated in hosting the dictator in Guyana. And as soon as the dictator went back to Guyana, guess whose businesses he started targeting? People who look like those very people he hugged and he pretended as though he liked, and he grabbed somebody's bike and he rode the bike. He went into somebody's kitchen and he clapping roti, and everything was exposed. It is absolutely wrong. But my question is, how many of you guys are in support of the boycott? If you are in support of the boycott, just type boycott. That's all. I will look for a couple of minutes while I play back this video here.
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together, because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right, I agree with you, and I would have it no other way. No other way. There is only one way forward, and that is united. That is for us to band together, for us to understand the challenges together, and for us to overcome those challenges.
Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So we're here to work together as one.
Thank you.
This one.
So 10 floors of inventory here. Oh, wow.
I'm not going there. Besides, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm going to be president.
We have to really work on it.
We are one of the other hospitals.
Clear. Thanks again.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter. And I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and
Are we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Fuck, so let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen. Body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Body jump, body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Hear me sing, so big body can't wear it tight pants. Big body just.
Welcome back. Let me see some of your comments. I was just reading some of your comments. People are saying just boycott, 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 boycott. Well, if that's the case, and until they apologize, and they have to apologize, they just have to apologize to the entire Guyanese community. It is just not going to be swept under the rug like that. And nobody is going to be bullied by an Irfan and his silly gang, his Dunstug gang, because that's what it is, right? All right. So if you reside in Brooklyn, and you know those businesses, just keep your money in your pocket. That's all. Keep your money in your pocket. I repeat, keep your money in your pocket. That's where it belongs for now. Until, instead of them fighting back, which is what they're doing, if you notice on one of the pages of one of them, every single thing now is posting about what Irfan says and what Irfan says. And so it appears that this thing was in the pipeline for a while now. It appears that way. I could be wrong. But they need to apologize to the Guyanese community in Brooklyn. The PPP regime is not worthy. These guys, now is not the time to break bread with them. Now is not the time to eat food, eat anything with them. Now is just not the time for that. They have to treat Guyanese with respect and dignity. And they have to stop disrespecting the African Guyanese community. I know that there are individuals in the past, we have seen that they called for boycott and protest of businesses in Queens. Some of them have did. Some of them live right there in Queens. And when they were throwing tantrums, and all manner of things. Oh, they wanted to call NYPD and tax people and all these things on the people in Queens. But now they're pretending as though they love the people in Brooklyn and they love these businesses and they're supporting these businesses. Be careful of those individuals. Just be careful with those individuals, those pot salt. Those feel that every single business they push them out in. Be careful with those individuals. And of course, I am keeping an eye on some of them because the minute they slip, let them slip. Some of them are watching. They know who they are. Let them slip. All right. So what else you guys want to talk about before we either move on? Because we know the corruption with the awarding of contracts. They are removing folks from the seawall as a result of the person's ethnicities. But particularly, they are targeting persons of African descent. So Irfan Ali went to Brooklyn. He was invited there by some of these individuals. And guess what? They did what they had to do, a little propaganda, and they're out. They're out and they're gone, and it's business as usual. Back to Guyana, business as usual. That is what it's about, and that is what these guys are about. And so they believe that we ought to shut our mouth. We shouldn't be saying anything, and we should just sit by and accept what they say and what they dish out to us. And when we dish out back what we have to dish out back, you hear all manner of things, that we are racist, we are extremist, we are all manner of things. Well, if that's what they think, so be it, right? If that's what they think, so be it. I notice Francine Cruz, good morning to you, ma'am, and all the other folks at the nursing home. Good morning. Francine is saying, Doris, very poor judgment. Everybody's saying that. 99% of people saying that. Poor judgment. Come out and apologize. That's it. Still, Ogle is saying certain sections of the bullied, underprivileged, neglected, strange enough, continue to move ground from under their feet while getting caught up in the moment. Stupidity is an understatement. Stupidity is indeed an understatement. Take a look at this. And then they have their folks saying that, oh, Ben Shab doesn't even support the Hills, and Ben Shab has friends and relatives who support the Hills. Ben Shab has folks who are family members of Straight Up, and 107 point, when you say family members, because we're all a Straight Up family, right? Everett Leonard and Kim Walker, we're all a Straight Up family. But they don't know that Ben Shab has a history. Look at this. Wow. That is Doris many, many years ago. And that guy, Ben Shab, right there at the Hills. So when they say that Ben Shab doesn't support the Hills and that Ben Shab probably never went there and all manner of things they're talking about, look, the evidence, it's not Photoshop. It's the evidence. Ben Shab and the very Doris. Ben Shab right there at the Hills supporting them many years ago. Ben Shab has friends and relatives who frequent the Hills right there. So you see the hypocrisy with these people. The statements, no facts, no nothing, and they try to paint an impression or give people the impression that, oh, Ben Shab doesn't support this business. Ben Shab has never gone. These are people who just don't know what is happening. And so the call for these people's business to be boycotted is a principled position taken. All we're saying is that the community was disrespected by these individuals, and therefore they have to take a moment, pause, and return and say, look, it was bad judgment. If they do not do that, then they stand the possibility of their business being boycotted, where people would feel compelled that these folks should not get their support, that these folks should not get their money. And I can understand that. People are hurt. But look at Doris and Ben Shab. Look at that, right there at the Hills, right there at the Hills. But yet they say Ben Shab doesn't go there. Ben Shab, especially that crazy guy. Ben Shab don't support that. You don't support that. You don't know. I don't know if it's Doris who told him that or who told these guys that. But they're not being helpful to people like Doris and businesses in Brooklyn. They're not being helpful at all. Because the more they speak up, pretending to support these folks, Doris and them, they are hurting Doris and other business that went out there and embraced their finale. They're hurting those businesses. Big time they're hurting those businesses. Because when people see Air Finale takes the position that he has taken, guess what? They are going to up their ante and say, no, you can't box us in. You can't control us. And that's what's happening right now. That is what's happening. That is what's happening. Fidel Albert, don't go there. Can't pass this no nice couple. Oh man, how you gonna do me though? Just a dry man? Oh man. But the purpose of that is to show that and to counter the propaganda that Ben Shab doesn't support, Ben Shab don't go there, Ben Shab. Rest yourself. At least Ben Shab don't jump on people's bicycle and ride away. You know what I mean? And you go all the way. Irfan Ali has gone all the way to Brooklyn, to make himself a paku. That is what he has done. He knows that he has made himself a paku, and that is why he felt hurt. And that is why he has his pakus them pretending as though they understand how to attack people, and so they don't know. And again, I'm cautioning some of them. This time a long time, right? And so they are hurt. At every level, they are hurt. That is what it is. And they're trying to save face. These PPP propagandists, these PPP folks who are connected to Jack Deere and Irfan Ali, who are jumping to the defense of those businesses in Brooklyn, do not care about those people. They just do not care. If they can use it for political purpose, propaganda, they will do that. But the propaganda is not working. I see Charles is saying here, Marquise is saying, and good morning to you, boycott them, and in no public apology, if no public apology, I'm sure that's what Marquise is saying here, if there's no public apology, let's see if they want protest outside their business. That's what Charles Marquise is saying. That's a suggestion from Charles Marquise. Let's see what Everett. We cannot support those people who have a good relationships with our tormentors. How could you want to, or how can anyone feel comfortable going back to those businesses under the circumstances? And I say this, the more they fight back, the more those individuals who are wrong and have wronged the community in Brooklyn, the Guyanese community in Brooklyn, the more they fight back, it's not going to get better for them. It's just not going to get better for them. And so that's all I wish to say at this point in time. There are other places that you guys can go and get a nice little chicken patty, pulori, and there are other places you can go until these individuals apologize. They just have to apologize. If there's anyone who is watching right now, feel that what I have said over the past 57 minutes, 35 seconds, particularly about the boycotting of those businesses, feel free to disagree and feel free to basically state why they should not be boycotted. And I'm willing to listen to your views as well. But I've just shared my opinion, and I've listened to the opinions, I've read the opinions of others. But if there any person on this has a different point of view, feel free to share it. I might not agree with it, but you're entitled to share it. If you disagree with the boycott, the call of boycott, then feel free to share it. But let's head back to the hills.
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together. Because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right,
So that was Doris saying that we, I don't know who she meant by we, whether it's we, the community in Brooklyn, the Guyanese community, or we, which we? She was speaking there on behalf of herself. She should have, she saying I, not we, but she said we, she's including everyone, every member of the community to have respect for Irfan Ali. I don't know that to be the case. I don't have respect for him based on what he does to people in Guyana. And so when she says we, again, I don't know what we she's talking about. I don't know what we. Look at what's happening there under the PPP regime. So I don't know what we she's talking about. Corruption galore. A senior cop was questioned by U.S. law, according to information, was questioned by U.S. law enforcement agencies. So I don't know what she's talking about. Look at all these folks, mainly persons of African descent, were not so long ago chased away from, guess where? Freedom House. While it is said that Freedom House was distributing cash grants to some favorite members of their party, and these folks found out, and as soon as they got there, guess what they did? Somebody called Doris and Sharif and James, Pastor James Richmond and others, and those folks at Palm and Steve Bakery, call them and let them see how persons are being treated in Guyana, mainly persons of African descent. Call them and let them see what's happening. Just call them, let them see. Remind them about the defense that Gail Teixeira put up at the United Nations, claiming that her installed government doesn't discriminate against persons of African descent. Call them. Lots of things. Call them and show them the videotapes and the photographs of individuals in Mocha or Mocha Arcadia and how they were treated. Call them. Call them and let them know that a man who was wanted by Interpol was arrested in Guyana. And guess what? They love to call people criminals and all these sort of things, but they don't look at what's happening at their side. And then it is said that the wife of this guy was a good friend of the Mr. Irfan Ali's wife. They're sitting and having tea. We're told that this is the guy who was wanted by Interpol. We are told, mind you, that this is his wife. But thus far, have we heard anything else about this case? No, we have not. Look at how they've treated the teachers. You know why they treated the teachers like that? Find out why. Find out the real reason why they treated the teachers in that manner. Thank God the teachers union just won their case, a big case for the country, a big case not only for teachers, but for workers across Guyana. Congratulations to the Guyana Teachers Union. Congratulations to the GTUC that joined in that legal matter. And congratulations to the lawyers, Darren Wade, and Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford. Meanwhile, people are punishing in the country, and these guys are riding around on their high horses as though nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing has happened. And then we remind them that 20 young people lost their lives. But nobody cares in the regime. They don't care. They're not bothered about that. They're just not. And when we see all these things, and that's just a handful of things I just showed, just a handful of the hundreds of things. Take a look at this. Can somebody send this photograph to Doris and Sharif and Pastor James Richmond? Send it to them and let them see how folks of African descent are being treated under the PPP regime. But nobody cares. They just do not care, right? But take a look. Look at what's going on. That is an African Guyanese businessman who's being gun-butted, beaten up badly by a security agency that is owned by a friend of the PPP regime. And that's what's happening. But guess what? Nobody's going to come out to the rescue. Nobody's going to say anything. All the people who are talking about, look what Ben Shop is saying about boycott, look what Burke is saying or whatever, they're not going to come out. They're not going to say a word about these things. You know why? Because it doesn't fit into their agenda. They just do not give a rat's you know what about what is happening. They don't care. So when they come out now to tell you that they care about the people of Brooklyn and look what Ben Shop doing to them or Burke or others, they just do not care, guys. They're pretending as though they care so that they can score cheap political points after what has happened to them at the United Nations. They recently got exposed. They want their own African organization in Guyana. All these things they want, all these things they're doing to suppress, oppress, and victimize Guyanese, but mainly Guyanese of African descent. That is what they do. That is what they continue to do. And because we stand up and we say, no, we are not going to accept that. Enough is enough. They get vexed, and we are the bad guys. But too bad. We're not bothered about them. So they go after individuals. They go after Burke. They go after Melly Mel. They go after whomever. And that's what they do. They are a bunch of bullies. And because we refuse to be bullied, they vex. The bumps raise. We must sit by and allow them to bully us. And because we are not taking bullying, guess what? Too bad. They can talk whatever they want to talk. But let us talk also about the treatment of the people of Linden. This school, over $300 million. $300 million. Hundreds of kids for almost 3 years have to be packed up in a little, probably choked up classrooms out in other schools in Linden. But the regime doesn't care. Irfan Ali doesn't care. He gave the contract to some of his cronies, and they themselves do not care because it's money for them. And they pretend as though, and black people, and it's all about them. It's all about a game. And because we are fed up of the game that is being played, we have decided to take action right now to put a stop to it. And those who do not wish, or those who pretend that they do not understand what this is about, well, too bad for them. They are just listening to the oppressors. They're listening to the propagandists, the propagandists who basically are very shallow, mind you. We know who they are. They're very shallow. That's what is happening, and we are fighting back with the little resources that we have. We are fighting them back. They have hundreds of millions of dollars that they're spending to their friends and cronies and families, but they are not winning the battle. They are just not winning the battle. That's all. So we can talk and talk and talk about a bunch of things. Don't forget how they treated those women in Mocha or Mocha Arcadia. Don't forget those sort of things. We must not forget this struggle, this fight is a fight for these individuals to stop with their hypocrisy. These individuals out in Brooklyn or wherever they are, stop with their hypocrisy, because we are going to continue to stand on the side of the people and do and say what is necessary to ensure that we protect the community. And that is what this is about. It's not about anything else. It's not about race. I know one individual who talks about everything, blah, 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 blah. Don't even understand what's happening. Was calling not so long ago for people to boycott businesses in Queens and call NYPD and business people are fraud and they're doing this and they're doing that and this people. And it was perfectly fine for them to do that, right? It was perfectly fine. But those are the ones who now want to lecture us as to how we should see things within our community. And isn't that IPAS, guys? Isn't that IPAS? If that is not IPAS, well, somebody tell me what is IPAS. That is beyond IPAS. Disrespectful. It's okay for them to call for boycott of their community out in Queens, boycott of businesses in Queens, threaten to call police, threaten to call, who else? IRS, threatened to call a bunch of people out there on businesses in Queens, and it was perfectly fine. And then they made up, and they're all hunky-dory, eating from the same pot, from the same karahi. And now they want to tell people, they want to tell others right now who are feeling the squeeze. This is not a personal squeeze like they felt. This is a direct attack and a direct squeeze on the people in Brooklyn. So those low-key propagandists need to shut the hell up, because I've already issued a cautionary note to those individuals. So let's head back to Guyana now. And I hope Doris and Sharif and Pastor James and these guys watching, are they happy with this, guys? This is a hard-working businesswoman. Hard-working businesswoman who lost millions of dollars. Millions upon millions of dollars she lost. How do these people feel in Brooklyn right now? How do they feel? How do these business people feel right now? When you take a look at this woman who has lost millions of dollars as a result of the racist, corrupt PPP regime and heartless PPP regime, how do they feel? Nobody knows what this woman is up to. Nobody cares about her. Fair enough. Everybody sends stuff back home. It is not confined to one particular individual who pack barrels and who send back. Everybody sends stuff. Everybody look after in whatever way they can look after. So you don't look after people in Guyana. You don't jump and say, well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to send a barrel or 2 barrels to help out a cause in Guyana. And then later on use that to say, well, this is what I just do for people in Guyana. All of us do it. Every single one. It is not confined to one person. It is not confined to one person. Every one of us play our role, our part, whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Guyana, whether it's Queens, wherever. And don't tell me anything about Queens, because when Queens had their issues, I was there with them. When there were Caucasian folks in Queens wanted to, and they were against individuals living in basements in Queens. Guess what? I was there in the protest line saying that it was wrong. When there were certain Caucasian neighbors who didn't want their neighbors to put up Jandy flags and all of these things, they were against it. Guess who was there with them? Oh yes, I was there. Some of them cheap, low-level propagandists weren't around, but I was there with them, standing up. In Brooklyn, when there's protests, guess who? I was there with them, and some of them weren't even around at that time in business and so forth. So don't tell me that I don't have any authority to pronounce on these issues. Don't tell me that I don't have any authority to feel the way that I'm feeling and that I must see these things happening and I must turn a blind eye. Correct what is happening in Guyana now. Irfan Ali, put aside the fact that he has been installed. If he turned a new leaf and ignore the demon within the PPP, turn a new leaf and do things for all Guyanese, regardless of their ethnicity. Don't do it superficially. Don't do it for the photographs. Don't jump on a bike and ride and think you're cool. That doesn't make you cool. Jumping on a bike, again, I repeat, doesn't make you cool. It doesn't show that, oh, the man down to earth by. Nah. You are cool when you do things to make all the citizens happy. You are cool when you respect the rights of all citizens of the country. That is when you are cool. You're not cool when you jump on a bike and show off. It's a circus. It's a clown show. You're not cool when you go in a kitchen and clap. Clap 2 roti. You're not cool. Hey, Kush, eat this bite. You're not cool. It's a clown show. You are cool when you create jobs for the people of your country. You are cool when you stick to your elections promises. That is when you're cool. You're not cool because you're going to hug somebody. Everybody does that. It is nothing new. Everybody does that. So there's nothing new for him to go about and say, I've noticed, oh, the man down to earth by. What do you mean down to earth? Do you know where he used to live before he became a minister? Do you know some of the things he has been accused of doing while he was a minister at the housing and all these different things? They are behaving as though this man come from some sort of, he got some inheritance, some rich billionaire families. This man clap roti all his life. So what he did there in a restaurant, even with in violation of the health law and so forth, he clapped roti there. He clapped roti. Nothing wrong with clapping roti. I clap roti too, and I clap too. And that's what I'm doing here now, clapping back. A different set of claps, right? So there's nothing cool about those things. Y'all making these people head swell. That is why they could go back to Guyana, of course, and they could continue to oppress the people because they believe that, hey, y'all see what a man do? We brainwash them by, we jump, Irfan jump on a bike and you ride it by, we brainwash them. If you see how them take picture, if you see what them do, man, right? Be careful, guys. A president is cool when they do things, when they respect your human rights, when they respect your constitutional rights, when they have policies that are fair across the board. A president or who sits there as a president is not cool because they take a picture. That doesn't make them cool. That doesn't make them down to earth. We want to see policies. We want to see respect for every citizen across Guyana. We want to see individuals who are accused of corruption. We want to see them brought to justice, including the allegations leveled against Jack Deere. Forget about Irfan. The 19 fraud charges, they duck that. That's done with. 19 fraud charges. 19. And then you're telling me he's down to earth. He's cool. Look at this. Look at what they've done to people's houses. Look at Hillfoot, what they have done. And there's so many people who have done things. I know of so many people. Some of them are on this live right now. They don't boast and brag. They don't try to throw it back in people's faces and say, well, I send things and I do things to people at Hillfoot and I do. No, they don't do that. Lots of people do things every single day to help their community, their communities in Brooklyn. Lots of people. Lots of people. So this is not a one or two people who send a barrel, or 2-3 barrels or whatever of donated items and then try to use it and disrespect people back home in Guyana. No, they've got to stop it. The other thing is too, and this is the propaganda that's being spread. Hear what the propaganda is. The coalition didn't do nothing for them. What the coalition do for them? If that was the case, you think I probably would have been. The coalition didn't do nothing personally for me. It is never anything personal for you. I look at the coalition. There weren't the kind of extrajudicial killings under the coalition. Parents felt comfortable when especially their teenage boys are out there. All these sort of things. They felt safe. Police corruption. We had a decent police force for the most part under the coalition. Things were returning to normalcy under the coalition. Respectability under the coalition. Money laundering laws, all these things passed under the coalition. The drug lords were very cautious under the coalition. And so those are things that we have to look at from a government. We can't just say, oh, the coalition didn't give me no tie, or the coalition didn't give me no shirt, or they didn't clap roti for me. Because when you do that now, you're looking at it from a selfish standpoint. And I oftentimes say to people, you think if I used to look at that from, what the coalition do for me, I probably would have been here talking about the coalition. It may not have done anything personal, but it's never about anything personal. It's about the country. And I'm of the view that the coalition did a heck of a lot for Guyana. And some of those who are criticizing the coalition, some of those who are criticizing the coalition are ungrateful. Oh, coalition didn't do nothing for me. Coalition didn't do nothing for me. It doesn't work. They're ungrateful. And then they want to say, ask not, according to John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, but rather what you can do for your country. Ask not what the coalition has done for you, but what you have done for the coalition. Some of these guys, these hustlers, they say that, and that is what the PPP is using there in Guyana. The PPP is catching these guys in the streets and saying, hey, boy, look, the coalition didn't do nothing for you, boy. Look, I just get a gun license. That's what they look at. I just get a gun license. They just get a gun license. And guess what? They're happy. Irfan Ali did something for them. They just get a gun license. So that's what they're looking at. They're not looking at community. They're surely not looking at it from a holistic standpoint. What is good for the community? You can't go in the community and bless up one person and left the rest. You cannot go in an entire city and bless up a couple of people and left the rest. That's the sort of politics we see now in Guyana. And we've got to move away from that. And hopefully very soon, we will see that these vagabonds in the PPP are no longer there. And as long as they're no longer there, and we have the return of a decent government that could respect the rights of every Guyanese, things are not going to get better in Guyana. We've got to change these vagabonds. We've got to vote them out of office so that they won't have the repeat of what happened in Brooklyn. Can those people accept that they're wrong? I believe they can. I believe they can. I believe that some of them do mean well for the community. I am part of a committee, and they're hardworking folks within that committee, who believes that Guyanese should get the respect in Brooklyn. And we have been working hard. And I give those people who are part of the community working hard for that. The renaming of Utica Avenue. We disagree on some issues. One of the main issues we disagree with, and maybe the only one, and I must admit that Doris is part of that committee. Pastor James Richmond is part of that committee. Sharif Barker is part of that committee. And Derek Arjun is part of that committee as well, for the renaming of Utica Avenue from Eastern Parkway, I believe way past Avenue D, the renaming of Utica Avenue to Guyana Avenue. So it is not to say that I have anything personal against these individuals. I do believe that they have made a bad judgment call this time around, because there is no benefit in having Irfan Ali in Brooklyn at this time. Absolutely no benefit at all. And so I hope that those individuals, while I must repeat, there's nothing personal, despite what some of them are saying, that I've never gone to the hills, I've never met Doris. I know Doris. We have been part of a committee for about a year or two. We have been fighting. It's an uphill battle. We're almost there. But one of my objections, main objection, mind you, is that there should be no involvement of the PPP regime. Absolutely none. None whatsoever. And so I was surprised when these individuals just pop up and doing what they do. I was not necessarily surprised, but I was surprised that they were so brave enough to do that publicly. And so let us see what's going on. I'm not sure if one of those businesses got contract at the Guyana consulate right now. It's taxpayers' monies they're getting. But when you hug the oppressors, when you hug them, that's a different thing. My heart really, really bleeds for these folks out in Guyana. It bleeds. It bleeds for anti-data and how they're treating anti-data as well. It just simply bleeds. It bleeds how they've insulted this journalist, Juanita Uburn, calling her all sorts of names. We didn't see these people who were defending these business people in Brooklyn, conveniently, we didn't see them jump to the defense of this journalist, Miss Juanita Uburn. We didn't see them doing that. We didn't see them jump to the defense of the people who are being forced to buy hot dog, who are being forced to buy hot dog from this PPP guys. We didn't see that. We just didn't see that. They turn a blind eye on these things. And it is talk show hosts like us. We have to keep reminding you about these things, you guys about these things. We have to keep exposing the corrupt PPP regime. And because we do that, all sorts of things, all sorts of names and so forth. And they expect us not to fight back. Wrong tree they're barking at. And this is why, when I started, I brought to your attention that there is a lawsuit against the, whatever his name is, critic. There is a lawsuit against him for saying, not for saying that there was obviously a trumped up treason charge. I was never convicted. There was one member of the jury who we're told there was some question marks behind what happened with that one juror. We are aware. Now, if you have a trumped up treason charge and 11 of the 12 jurors says not guilty, then where in this world can you consider that a guilt of an individual? There was no evidence presented in court to prove their case. None whatsoever. No evidence. The evidence that presented in the case was that I got there after. But what they didn't say is that I said, stop. Luncheon was there. Robert Prasad was there. I said, stop shooting the people. They killed at the office of the president about 3 persons that we are aware of. Since when stop shooting the people and stop killing the people amongst the treason? And now that individual went further to say that I am responsible for X, Y, and Z, when in fact, there is no evidence to substantiate that. And people oftentimes jump and say free speech. But of course, free speech, yes, but up to a point. If he has the information or evidence to that, then bring it on. He has an opportunity now to bring it on in the court. That's all. Bring it on. Since you like talk, bring it on. As it pertains to, and let me address this issue of a pardon, as though Jack Dale has done a favor to me after jailing me for 5+ years in solitary confinement. Do you think he suddenly got up after 5+ years? He suddenly got up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna pardon bench now." Do you think it was a sudden act? But let me say this, that I have not I have not on this program probably mentioned it for a long time now, but let me say this, that as it pertains to the pardon, which wasn't a favor, it was an act of guilt. He has realized that he has done me a wrong. And during those 5+ excruciatingly painful years, he, Jack Dale, has realized that he has done a wrong. And he went as far as to, after being forced to do something, decided that he's going to pardon Ben Shap. But even before the pardon, Robert Corbyn, Mr. Corbyn, who was leader of the opposition then, and Basil Williams visited me at the Camp Street prisons. And one question they asked, and this is why I'm saying some of these pakus in the PPP do not know what transpired. One question they asked, in fact, they said they spoke to Jack Dale, and because of the pressures, that they told Jack Dale the best thing is to get this guy out of the Camp Street solitary confinement. Mr. Corbyn said, Mr. Corbyn said, and this is what he said. Here. Apologize to Jack Dio. So I was shocked. I'm like, apologize? A leader of an opposition and a lawyer is telling me to apologize when the very lawyer knows, because Basil Williams was part of the legal team, that there was no evidence, that the judge was afraid to accept a no-case submission. There was no evidence. If there was no evidence at all, how on earth can you tell me, after going through all that I've gone through there in a prison, in terms of son dying under mysterious and his mom under mysterious, under questionable circumstances, and couldn't get to attend his funeral, you're going to come to me now and tell me that I must apologize to Jack Dio for something that I've never done, something that I'm innocent of, when in fact Jack Dio did me a wrong? I said to Mr. Corbyn, I'm saying this publicly now because this is no propaganda on my part. I was very livid. I said to both Mr. Corbyn and Basil Williams that I'm disappointed that they would ask me such, and that I want no such letter to be given to Jack Dio for nothing. I said I want a trial. I want a fair trial. I am not going to apologize for nothing. I prefer to go back into my cell and die right there. I walked away from Robert Corbyn and Basil Williams. Less than 48 hours after, prison authorities came, all of the senior officers, and they said, Bishop, pack up. For what? You have been pardoned. I want you guys to listen carefully. There are senior prison officers who are aware of this. I refused the pardon. I said, nope, I need my day in court. About half hour, they pleaded with me. The prisoners all over Camp Street were banging on walls, on the roof, on the zinc, every single thing, just clapping. Freedom, freedom, freedom for Mark. Freedom for Mark. There's one reason that I walked out of that Camp Street prison. One main reason. And that had to do with my son was preparing for his common entrance. And after being away from him for 5+ years, I feel that I should do something for him. I'll see you guys later on tonight. So do not buy into the propaganda, and do not buy into anything that these people are trying to tell you guys based on some propaganda that they have heard, and that Jack Deere did me a favor by pardoning me when in fact he was forced to do that. When you took 5+ years away from my life, someone's life, and suddenly decide that you have the authority to free him now, you've learned your lessons, you can go now, without no regards for law and order and human rights. So those of you who don't know shouldn't talk. And when you wrong talk, you will head up the court steps. Because I'm not going to sit back and allow certain people to wrong talk. We got to continue to fight. These people are vicious. These people don't mean well. Their definition of well is when they can control you. And when they can't control you, they're going to try to do all sorts of things to you. Jail you, persecute you, assassinate you, all manner of things. We've got to continue to be as strong as we are, as a people, as a nation. Guyana doesn't fall in the hands of one group of individuals, but all of us, which is not one Guyana. It's a PPP propaganda. It's one people, one nation, one destiny. A lot of you guys sometimes don't know what the struggle was like and the price people have paid. Some of the brothers in the struggle have lost their lives. Some are still around to tell this story. But the pain and the wounds are forever here. Those of us who felt the brunt of the brutality from a very vicious and heartless government. That government is still in office today. We've got to do something to vote them out next elections. God bless you. See y'all later.
Shame, 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 Skyra, shame, 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 Skyra, shame, 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 Skyra, oh.
One day me been a bamboo dam, and me see Tyra lay down there, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing gold. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there.
Sunday morning I was passing, and me see Tyra lay down there, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing gold. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there. Shame, 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 Tyra, shame, 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 Tyra, shame, 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 Tyra, oh.
One day me been a wakana, and me see Tyra pon the dam, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing gold. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there.
One day me been a wakana, and me see Tyra on the down, and me ask see Tyra what she do there. See Tyra ice up she petticoat wine like a boxing gold. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there. See Tyra more man there, oh see Tyra more man there.
See Tyra,
More man there.
oh see Tyra.
Yes, my name is Jasmine Kaldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together. Because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right, I agree with you, and I would have it no other way. No other way. There is only one way forward, and that is united. That is for us to band together, for us to understand the challenges together, and for us to overcome those challenges.
Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So we're here to work together as one.
Thank you.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Boxer, let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen. Body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Body jump, body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Hear me sing, so big body down wearing tight pants, big body jump.